Everybody wants results. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants the reward. But let me ask you something real. Do you want results or do you want the process? Because results don't show up first. Discipline shows up first. Sacrifice shows up first. Consistency shows up first. Consistency shows up first. We live in a world that wants everything fast. Fast food, fast money, fast fame, fast success. And that mindset is destroying people because anything that comes fast usually leaves faster. You want in 30 days what takes 30 months. You want the harvest without planting the seed. You want the victory without the struggle. And that's not how life works. You say you want instant results, but the question is, are you willing to do non-instant work? Because success doesn't move at the speed of excitement, it moves at the speed of commitment. Motivation will get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. Nothing seems to be happening. Most people quit not because they failed, but because results didn't show up on their timeline. They worked for a week and expected a miracle. They showed up for a month and expected a transformation. But greatness doesn't respond to impatience. You want results, but you don't want routine. You don't want to wake up early every day. You don't want to do the same boring work when nobody is watching. You want applause before performance. You want recognition before mastery. But real results are built in silence. Same alarms, same grind, same sacrifice, day after day. No camera, no crowd, no validation. If you can't fall in love with repetition, you will never experience transformation. Your expectations are high, but your effort is average. You are asking life for championship results while giving practice level commitment. You want elite outcomes with part-time discipline. Life doesn't negotiate. Life doesn't care about your excuses. Life pays according to value, consistency, and execution. If your effort doesn't stretch you, your results won't change you. The delay you are experiencing is not a punishment, it's preparation. Life is testing your character. Can you stay focused when nothing is happening? Can you stay disciplined when nobody is clapping? Can you keep going when doubt is louder than hope? Most people fail right here, not because they lack talent, but because they lack patience under pressure. They quit 5 minutes before the breakthrough because they misunderstood the silence. You keep asking, when will it happen? But the real question is, who do I need to become? Results don't change your life. Identity does. When you change how you think, how you move, how you prepare, how you respond to pressure, results follow automatically. Lazy habits create lazy outcomes. Undisciplined thinking creates inconsistent success. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. Everybody wants success, but nobody wants to pay for it. Pain is part of the payment. Early mornings, late nights, rejection, loneliness, doubt, failure. That pain is not a sign to quit. It's proof that you are investing in something real. No pain, no process, no process, no power. The people you admire didn't avoid pain. They outlasted it. You're ignoring today because it looks small. You think one workout doesn't matter. One page doesn't matter. One disciplined decision doesn't matter. But greatness is built in inches, not leaps. Small wins don't consistently create unstoppable momentum. Stack those days, stack those choices, stack that discipline. One day you'll wake up and people will call it luck, but you'll know the truth. Instant results create weak people. Delay creates leaders. Struggle builds resilience. Pressure builds wisdom. Consistency builds dominance. If everything came easy, you'd be fragile. If everything came fast, you'd be entitled. You don't need instant results, you need unbreakable habits. So if you really want results, change instantly, commit instantly, work instantly, sacrifice instantly, and stay there even when nothing seems to be working. Because when success finally arrives, it won't be instant, it will be earned. Everybody wants it now, right now, not later, not after struggle, not after growth, now. That mindset didn't come from nowhere. You've been trained to want everything instantly. One click and food arrives. One swipe and entertainment appears. One tap and information floods your screen. And slowly, without realizing it, you started believing that life works the same way. That success works the same way. That growth works the same way. But instant gratification is not a blessing. It's a trap. A dangerous one. Because it creates weak patience, shallow discipline, and fragile commitment. Instant gratification teaches you to quit the moment things feel uncomfortable. The moment results don't show up, doubt creeps in. The moment progress slows down, motivation disappears. And instead of asking yourself, am I doing the right things consistently? You start asking, oh, why isn't this working yet? That question alone reveals the problem. You're focused on timing instead of effort. You're watching the clock instead of sharpening your character. Anything valuable takes time, and anything that comes fast usually leaves faster. Think about it. Fast money teaches reckless spending. Fast fame creates pressure without foundation. Fast success builds ego before wisdom. And when pressure hits, and it always hits, those who rose too quickly collapse just as fast. Not because they're unlucky, but because they were never trained to endure. They were rewarded before they were ready. Instant gratification makes you addicted to feelings instead of results. You start chasing motivation instead of discipline. You wait to feel good before you act, instead of acting until you become good. Real growth doesn't always feel exciting. Sometimes it feels boring. Sometimes it feels lonely. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening at all. And that's where most people fail. Not at the starting line, not at the finish line, but in the middle, where progress is invisible. You want proof before persistence. You want evidence before effort. You want reassurance before risk. But life doesn't work that way. Life demands commitment first and results later. And if you can't operate without immediate feedback, you'll never last long enough to see long-term success. Farmers don't dig up seeds every day to check if they're growing. They water them. They protect them. They wait, and they trust the process. But you keep digging. You keep switching plans. You keep changing directions because patience feels like failure to you. Instant gratification also distorts your perception of struggle. You start seeing difficulty as a sign you're doing something wrong instead of evidence you're doing something meaningful. You expect progress to be smooth, clean, and painless, but real growth is messy. It stretches you. It humbles you. It exposes your weaknesses. And if everything felt easy, you wouldn't grow. You stay exactly where you are. This trap convinces you that if something doesn't work quickly, it won't work at all. So you quit the gym after 2 weeks. You quit the business after 3 months. You quit the skill after 1 failure. You quit the dream because the timeline didn't match your imagination. But what if the delay is in denial? What if the delay is development? What if life is building something in you before it gives something to you? Instant gratification also kills appreciation. When things come too easily, you don't respect them, you don't protect them, you don't maintain them. You treat them casually because you didn't suffer for them. And what you don't value, you will eventually lose. Struggle creates gratitude. Effort creates ownership. Time creates respect. That's why people who work for something rarely waste it, while those who receive it too quickly often take it for granted. This mindset also makes you compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You see the win, but you don't see the years of losses behind it. You see the applause, but not the isolation. You see the reward, but not the repetitions. And because social media shows results without process, you start believing that you're behind, that you're slow, that something is wrong with you. But the truth is, you're normal. Growth just takes time. Instant gratification weakens resilience. When you're used to quick rewards, any obstacle feels unbearable. Any delay feels unfair. Any failure feels final. You haven't trained yourself to endure discomfort, so discomfort controls you. But resilience isn't built in moments of ease. It's built when you show up tired, when you show up discouraged, when you show up with no guarantee that today will be different from yesterday, and you still give your best. The trap also lies to you about happiness. It tells you that happiness comes from getting things quickly, but real fulfillment comes from becoming someone capable of discipline, capable of consistency, capable of patience, capable of growth. Temporary pleasure fades quickly, but earned pride lasts forever. There's a different feeling when you know you didn't quit, when you know you stayed, when you know you earned every inch of progress. Instant gratification makes you rush decisions that should be built slowly. You want shortcuts instead of systems, hacks instead of habits, tricks instead of truth. But shortcuts skip lessons, and lessons become failures later. Life will either teach you slowly through discipline or painfully through consequences. Either way, you'll learn. The question is how much damage you're willing to take before you understand that speed is not the goal. Strength is. You don't need fast results. You need deep roots. Because when storms come, they will only what's rooted survives. Surface level success collapses under pressure, but success built slowly, painfully, intentionally. That kind lasts. That kind lasts. That kind stands. That kind grows stronger with time instead of weaker. If you're frustrated right now, it's not because you're failing. It's because you're being trained. Your patience is being tested. Your discipline is being stretched. Your character is being shaped. And if you can resist the urge to quit, to rush, to chase instant validation, you'll come out stronger than you imagine. So stop asking, why isn't this happening faster? And start asking, am I becoming stronger while I wait? Because waiting doesn't mean wasting time. Waiting means working without applause. Waiting means believing without evidence. Waiting means trusting the process even when it doesn't make sense yet. Instant gratification is a trap because it promises comfort but steals growth. It gives pleasure but takes power. It feels good now but costs you later. And later is where real success lives. You say you want results, but your daily life says something else. You say you want success, growth, change, transformation. But when it's time to wake up early, to show up again, to do the same work for the 100th time, suddenly motivation disappears. The truth is simple and uncomfortable. You want the reward, but you don't want the routine. And without routine, results are just wishes. Everybody loves the idea of success. Very few people love the structure that creates it. Routine feels boring. Routine feels repetitive. Routine doesn't feel exciting or glamorous. There's no applause for waking up early every day. There's no celebration for doing the basics consistently. No one claps because you showed discipline when nobody was watching. And because routine doesn't give you emotional highs, you avoid it. But results don't come from excitement, they come from execution. You want different outcomes while keeping the same habits. You want change without changing how you live your days. But your routine is your life in disguise. What you repeatedly do becomes who you are, not what you plan, not what you promise, not what you talk about, what you do daily. If your routine is weak, your results will be weak. It doesn't matter how big your dream is if your daily actions don't support it. Most people wait to feel motivated before they act. That's backwards. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. Routine is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Discipline isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's showing up tired. It's working when progress feels invisible. It's staying consistent when nothing seems to be changing. You want results, but you don't want to wake up early. You don't want to sacrifice comfort. You don't want to say no to distractions. You don't want to repeat the same task every day without instant feedback. But mastery lives in repetition. Excellence is born before it is extraordinary. Every elite performer, every great leader lives by routine. Not because they love it, but because they respect what it produces. Routine exposes who you really are. When excitement fades, when inspiration runs out, routine is what's left. And if you haven't built strong routines, you collapse the moment things get hard. That's why people start strong and finish weak. They rely on emotion instead of structure. But emotions change. Discipline doesn't. Routine doesn't ask how you feel. It tells you what to do. You think routine limits freedom, but routine creates freedom. When you control your habits, you control your life. When you don't, distractions do. Social media does. Comfort does. Other people's opinions do. A weak routine makes you reactive. A strong routine makes you intentional. You stop living by chance and start living by choice. Routine also protects you from excuses. When something is scheduled, it doesn't become optional. You don't negotiate with your alarm. You don't debate whether or not to do the work. You just do it. And that consistency compounds. Small actions done daily create massive results over time. But because the progress is slow, you underestimate it. You quit too early. You say it's not working, when in reality, it's just not finished yet. You want results, but you want variety every day. You want something new, something exciting, something different. But growth requires sameness. The same habits, the same standard, the same effort, over and over again. The people who win are not the most talented. They are the most consistent. They are willing to do the boring work longer than everyone else. Routine builds identity. When you show up every day, you stop seeing discipline as something you try to do and start seeing it as who you are. You become someone who trains daily, someone who works daily, someone who improves daily. Once identity shifts, results follow naturally. You don't have to force consistency anymore. It becomes normal. You keep saying you'll start when conditions are perfect, when life slows down, when you feel ready. But routine doesn't wait for perfect conditions. Routine is built in chaos, in stress, in busy schedules, in uncomfortable seasons. If you can't maintain discipline when life is hard, you don't own discipline, you borrow it. And borrowed discipline disappears when pressure shows up. Routine is also how confidence is built. Not through affirmations, but through evidence. Every day you keep a promise to yourself, self-trust grows. Every day you skip it, self-doubt grows. You don't lack confidence, you lack consistency. And consistency starts with routine. You want results, but you don't want to organize your time. You let your days control you. Instead of you controlling your days, you react instead of plan. You drift instead of direct. Routine is deciding in advance what matters and protecting it. It's saying no to good things so you can say yes to great things. And most people aren't willing to do that. Routine also removes decision fatigue. When your habits are automatic, you save mental energy for creativity, problem solving, and growth. But when everything is a choice, you get tired. You procrastinate, you delay. Structure doesn't trap you, it frees you. You admire people's success, but ignore their system. You want the highlight without the habits. But behind every visible win is an invisible routine. Early mornings no one sees. Late nights no one applauds. Sacrifices no one thanks them for. You don't see the repetition because repetition isn't exciting to watch, but it's powerful to live. Routine doesn't mean rigidity. It means priorities. It means discipline with flexibility, not excuses. It means showing up even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels pointless, because routine isn't about today's result. It's about tomorrow's reality. You don't need more motivation. You need more structure. You don't need another speech. You need a stronger routine. Decide what you will do daily, no matter what. Decide what you will protect. Decide what you will repeat. And then commit to it longer than feels comfortable. Because results don't come from what you do once in a while. They come from what you do every day. And if you truly want results, you must fall in love with routine. Not because it feels good, but because it works. You say you want more success, more money, more growth, more recognition, more respect. But the uncomfortable truth is this: your effort doesn't match your expectation. You are dreaming on a championship level while working on a casual level. You are asking life for elite results while giving it average commitment. And life doesn't work like that. Life doesn't respond to words, wishes, or wants. Life responds to effort, consistency, and value. Expectations are dangerous when they are not backed by discipline. You expect progress, but you don't train daily. You expect improvement, but you don't study consistently. You expect opportunity, but you don't prepare when no one is watching. You expect results simply because you desire them, but desire without discipline is delusion. Wanting something badly does not entitle you to it. Wanting something badly only proves that you want it. What proves you deserve it is what you are willing to do repeatedly when it's hard, boring, and uncomfortable. You've raised your expectations without raising your standard. Raising your standard. You want a better life, but you're still operating with old habits. You want a different future, but your daily routine looks exactly like your past. You can't expect new outcomes from familiar behavior. Growth requires change, and change demands effort that stretches you beyond what feels comfortable. If nothing in your life feels demanding, that's a sign you are not pushing hard enough. The problem is not that you expect too much. The problem is that you work too little for what you expect. You want success fast, but you don't want to sacrifice comfort. You want recognition, but you don't want repetition. You want to be great, but you don't want to be uncomfortable. And greatness lives only in discomfort. There is no version of success that doesn't require effort that feels inconvenient, exhausting, and sometimes unfair. You watch other people win and think they're lucky. You see the outcome and assume it was easy. But you didn't see the early mornings, the late nights, the failures, the rejection, the doubt. You didn't see the days they showed up tired, You didn't see the times they kept going without guarantees. You only see the reward, not the rent they paid to live at that level. And because you don't see the full story, you underestimate the effort required and overestimate your own preparation. Your expectations are loud, but your execution is quiet. You talk about what you're going to do, what you should be doing, what you plan to do one day. But results don't come from intentions. They come from actions repeated daily. Life doesn't reward potential. It rewards performance. It doesn't care what you meant to do. It cares what you actually did. You say you're working hard, but are you really? Or are you busy without being productive? There's a difference. You can spend hours distracted, scrolling, multitasking, half focused, and still feel tired. But exhaustion does not equal effort. Sweat does not equal progress. Effort that produces results is intentional. It's focused. It's uncomfortable. It forces you to confront your weaknesses instead of avoiding them. You want elite results, but you're still negotiating with yourself every day. You negotiate with your alarm. You negotiate with your goals. You negotiate with your standards. You keep lowering the bar to avoid discomfort. Then you get frustrated when you don't reach higher outcomes. You can't negotiate your way to excellence. Excellence requires non-negotiable standard. Certain things must be done whether you feel like it or not. Your expectations are based on comparison instead of commitment. You look at where others are and assume you deserve the same outcome. But you don't see how long they've been consistent. You don't see how many times they failed. You don't see the price they paid privately. You compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20 and then feel discouraged. But comparison doesn't measure effort accurately. Commitment does. You want results, but you're not willing to be misunderstood. You're not willing to be doubted. You're not willing to look foolish while learning. You want success without criticism, growth without pain, progress without pressure. But pressure is part of the process. Resistance is what strengthens you. Without it, you remain weak no matter how big your expectations are. You keep saying you'll give more effort when results show up, but that's backwards. Effort comes first. Results come later. You don't wait for proof to work harder. You work harder until proof appears. And sometimes that proof takes longer than you expect. Sometimes it takes years. That doesn't mean it's not working. It means it's working deeper than you can see. Your effort doesn't match your expectation because you underestimate what it actually takes to win. You think talent is enough. It's not. You think motivation is enough. It's not. You think intelligence enough. It's not. Talent without discipline fades. Motivation without consistency dies. Intelligence without effort stalls. What wins is relentless execution. You say you want to be different, but you still live like everyone else. You sleep late. You wake up late. You avoid discomfort. You chase comfort. You waste time. You delay action. Then you expect uncommon results. But common habits create common lives. If you want uncommon results, you need uncommon discipline. You need to do what most people are not willing to do for a long time. The truth is, deep down, you know your effort doesn't match your expectation. That's why frustration follows you. That's why guilt shows up at night. That's why you feel restless, because your conscience knows you're capable more than you're giving. And that inner tension is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to wake you up. You don't need to lower your expectation. You need to raise your effort. You need to raise your standards. You need to raise your consistency. You need to raise your willingness to suffer short-term discomfort for long-term growth. Success is rented, not owned, and rent is due every day. Miss enough payments, and life will evict you from the level you say you want to live at. Effort is not about doing more things. It's about doing the right things with intensity. It's about focus. It's about depth. It's about giving full attention to what matters instead of giving partial attention to everything. Most people are tired because they are scattered, not because they are disciplined. Real effort simplifies your life. It removes distractions. It forces you to choose. You expect confidence, but confidence is built through kept promises. You expect respect, but respect is earned through consistency. You expect freedom, but freedom is purchased through discipline. Nothing you want comes free. Everything has a cost. And if you're not paying the cost daily, you're not moving closer to the outcome you expect. Your expectations are emotional, but effort must be logical. Feelings change. Discipline doesn't. You can't rely on how you feel to determine how hard you work. Some days you won't feel like showing up. Some days you'll doubt yourself. Some days you'll be tired, discouraged, and frustrated. Those are the days that matter most. Those are the days that separate people who want success from people who earn it. You also confuse movement with progress. You think being busy means you're working hard. But progress requires intentional discomfort. It requires doing the thing you avoid, the thing you're bad, the thing that challenges you. If your effort always feels safe, it's not enough. Growth lives just beyond comfort. You want results that change your life, but you're not willing to change your life to get them. You want transformation without transformation. You want a new destination without a new direction. That's not possible. At some point, something has to give. Either your expectations will drop or your effort will rise. And if you want a better future, your effort must rise. Life is fair in this sense. It gives back what you consistently put in, not what you hope for, not what you talk about, what you do every day over time. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you work for. And the longer you avoid that truth, the longer results will avoid you. You don't need more time. You need more intensity. You don't need more resources. You need more discipline. You don't need more confidence. You need more evidence, and evidence is created through effort. Small, repeated, focused effort over time creates massive change. But because it's not dramatic, you underestimate it. Stop lying to yourself about how hard you're working. Are you giving your best, or are you giving what's convenient? Are you pushing your limits, or are you protecting your comfort? Are you disciplined when no one is watching, only when it's easy? Answers to those questions will explain your results better than any excuse ever could. Your expectations are not wrong. Wanting more is not wrong. Wanting better is not wrong. Wanting growth is not wrong. What's wrong is expecting outcomes without matching inputs. Life doesn't operate on hope. It operates on law. And the law is simple. Effort precedes reward. When your effort finally matches your expectation, frustration turns into momentum. Confusion turns into clarity. Doubt turns into confidence. Because now your actions are aligned with your desires. And alignment creates power. So don't complain about where you are if you're not willing to change how you work. Don't resent people who are ahead of you if you're not willing to match their discipline. Don't demand from life what you haven't earned through effort. Raise your effort to the level of your expectation and watch how quickly things start to change. Not because life suddenly became fair, but because you finally became serious. What you are going through right now is not random. It's not bad luck. It's not bad luck. It's not like being unfair. It's the process doing exactly what it's designed to do. Test your character, not your talent, not your intelligence, not your potential, your character. Because talent can get you noticed, but character is what determines how far you go and how long you stay there. Everybody wants the result, but very few people respect the process. And the process is slow on purpose. It's uncomfortable on purpose. It's uncertain on purpose. Because if you got everything you wanted immediately, without resistance, without struggle, without delay, you wouldn't be ready to keep it. The process exists to build you before it rewards you. And if you fight the process, you fight your own growth. Right now, life is watching how you respond when things don't go your way, how you behave when the results are delayed, how you talk to yourself when nobody else is encouraging you, how disciplined you remain when motivation disappears. This season isn't about what you're achieving on the outside. It's about who you're becoming on the inside. The process tests your patience. Can you stay committed when progress is slow? Can you keep showing up when effort doesn't immediately turn into results? Most people can work hard when they see fast improvement. But when improvement becomes invisible, when growth is happening beneath the surface, impatience shows up. And impatience reveals a lack of trust in the process. The process also tests your integrity. Who are you when nobody is watching? Do you still do the work when there's no recognition? Do you still honor your commitments when no one is holding you accountable? Character is built in private moments, in the quiet decision, in the choices you make when it would be easier to quit, cut corners, or make excuses. You say you want success, but success exposes weak character faster than failure does. That's why the process delays your arrival. It's strengthening you so that when pressure comes, you don't collapse. It's teaching you humility so ego doesn't destroy you. It's teaching you discipline so freedom doesn't corrupt you. The process tests your consistency. Can you stay steady when life becomes unpredictable? Can you keep your standards high even when your emotions are low? Anybody can be consistent when life is easy. But real character shows up when circumstances are heavy, when stress is high, and when quitting would feel justified. The process will frustrate you on purpose. It will close doors you thought were meant for you. It will slow things down when you feel ready to move faster. It will put obstacles in your way to see how you respond under pressure. Do you complain or do you adapt? Do you blame or do you take responsibility? Do you quit or do you grow? Every delay is asking you a question. Are you still committed without guarantees? Every setback is asking, are you still willing to work without recognition? Every failure is asking, are you humble enough to learn? These moments are not meant to break you. They are meant to reveal you. The process tests your faith in yourself. When external validation disappears, do you still believe in your vision? When others doubt you, do you stay focused or do you start shrinking your goals to make people comfortable? Character is standing firm in who you are becoming, even when the world doesn't see it yet. It also tests your emotional discipline. Can you control your reactions when things don't go as planned? Can you manage frustration without letting it turn into bitterness? Can you accept criticism without losing confidence? Emotional maturity is part of character, and the process will expose every emotional weakness you try to hide. The process strips you. It removes the excitement. It removes the hype. It removes the shortcuts. Until all that's left is your work ethic and your mindset. That's why so many people quit in the middle. The beginning is exciting. The ending is rewarding. But the middle is where character is built. And most people don't want to stay there long enough. You are being tested to see if you are committed to growth or addicted to comfort. Because comfort feels good, but it makes you weak. Growth feels uncomfortable, but it makes you strong. And strength is required for the level you say you want to reach. The process tests your humility. It reminds you that you don't know everything, that you still have things to learn, that mistakes are part of mastery. If you resist correction, the process becomes longer. If you stay teachable, growth accelerates, pride slows progress. Humility speeds it up. It tests your gratitude. When things aren't going your way, do you still appreciate how far you've come? Or do you only focus on what's missing? Gratitude keeps your heart right while ambition pushes you forward. Without gratitude, ambition turns toxic. The process teaches you to hold both. The process also tests how you treat people on the way up. When you're frustrated, do you become arrogant, rude, impatient? Or do you stay respectful, grounded, and kind? Character isn't proven when you're winning. It's revealed when you're under pressure. You might feel overlooked right now, unseen, unrecognized. But obscurity is part of the process. It protects you. It gives you space to grow without the weight of expectation. It allows you to make mistakes privately instead of publicly. And if you waste this season complaining instead of developing, you miss the purpose of it. The process tests your discipline when motivation runs out. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is a decision. The process forces you to choose discipline again and again without emotional rewards. And every time you choose discipline, your character gets stronger. It also tests your ability to delay gratification. Can you say no to short-term pleasure for long-term fulfillment? Can you sacrifice now so you don't struggle later? Weak character chooses what feels good now. Strong character chooses what's right for the future. You may not realize it, but every challenge is shaping how you think. Every obstacle is strengthening your problem-solving skill. Every failure is teaching resilience. The process is building layers within you, layers that will protect you later when the stakes are higher. You are not being ignored. You are being prepared. You are not being delayed. You are being developed. And if you rush out of the process, you will arrive unprepared. That's why shortcuts always lead back to the same place. Growth cannot be skipped. The process tests whether you can handle responsibility. If you can't manage small tasks consistently, how will you handle bigger ones? If you can't stay disciplined in private, how will you lead in public? The process starts small to see if you are faithful with little before it gives you more. It also tests your resilience. How quickly do you bounce back after disappointment? Do you allow failure to define you, or refine you, or refine you? Character isn't about never falling. It's about always getting back up stronger than before. The process forces you to confront yourself, your excuses, your fear, your bad habits, and that confrontation is uncomfortable. But avoidance keeps you stuck. Growth requires honesty. And honesty is a cornerstone of strong character. One day when you look back, you'll realize the hardest seasons were the most important ones. The moments you wanted to quit were the moments that shaped you the most. The delays that frustrated you were the delays that frustrated you were the delays that saved you. If the process feels heavy right now, that's because it's working. If it feels slow, that's because it's building something deep. If it feels uncomfortable, that's because comfort is being removed so strength can take its place. So don't rush it. Don't fight it. Don't resent it. Respect the process. Embrace it. Learn from it. Let it shape you. Because the process is not just preparing your future, it's testing your character. And if your character is strong enough, the results will eventually follow. You want different results, but you keep waking up as the same person with the same habits, the same mindset, the same excuses, and the same comfort zone. And that's the truth most people don't want to hear. Results do not change your life first. Identity does. Until who you are changes, what you get will not change in any lasting way. You can chase outcomes all you want, but if your identity stays the same, you will either never reach those outcomes or you will reach them and lose them. Most people focus on what they want instead of who they need to become. They want more money, better health, stronger relationships, higher confidence, greater success. But they don't want to let go of the identity that produced their current situation. They want new rewards with old behaviors. That doesn't work. Life doesn't respond to wishes, it responds to alignment. When your identity aligns with your goals, results follow naturally. When it doesn't, frustration becomes your constant companion. Identity is not what you say you are. It's what you prove daily. It's the sum of your habits, your standards, your reactions, and your discipline when nobody is watching. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. That's why motivation fades. That's why temporary effort doesn't last. Because deep down, you're trying to build a future with an identity that belongs to your past. You say you want success, but do you see yourself as disciplined? You say you want growth, but do you see yourself as consistent? You say you want confidence, but do you see yourself as someone who keeps promises to themselves until those answers change? Results will remain inconsistent because behavior always follows identity. You don't act your way into a new identity. You think your way into new actions. That's why people sabotage their own progress. They start doing better, but it feels uncomfortable because it doesn't match who they believe they are. So they slip back into old habits, not because they want to fail, but because failure feels familiar. Identity seeks consistency, even when consistency is destructive. If you see yourself as undisciplined, your mind will always find a way to return you to that version of yourself, no matter how badly you want change. Results that come before identity changes don't last. That's why quick success often leads to quick collapse. People gain money before they develop financial discipline. They gain influence before they build character. They gain recognition before they learn humility. And when pressure shows up, the old identity takes over and destroys what was built too quickly. Identity is the foundation. Without it, everything else is unstable. You don't become confident by achieving success. You achieve success because you become confident through discipline, repetition, and self-trust. Confidence is built by evidence, not affirmations. Every time you do what you said you would do, your identity shifts slightly. You start seeing yourself differently. You stop relying on motivation and start relying on structure. That internal shift is where real change begins. Most people want to change their circumstances without changing their character. They want the outside to improve while the inside stays the same. But life works from the inside out. Your habits create your actions. Your actions create your results. Your results reinforce your identity. And that cycle continues. If you want different results, you must interrupt the cycle at the identity level. Identity change is uncomfortable because it requires honesty. It forces you to admit that some of your problems are self-created, that your habits matter, that your excuses have consequences, that your comfort is costing you growth. It's easier to blame circumstances, people, or luck than it is to accept responsibility. But responsibility is power. The moment you take ownership of who you are becoming, you take control of where you are going. You don't need to become someone completely new overnight. Identity doesn't change through dramatic moments. It changes through small, repeated decisions, one disciplined action at a time. One promise kept out, one excuse rejected, one hard choice embraced. Over time, those actions compound into a new self-image. And once your self-image changes, your behavior becomes automatic. You keep saying you'll be consistent when you feel more motivated. But consistency is not the result of motivation. It's the result of identity. When you see yourself as someone who trains daily, you don't negotiate with the gym. When you see yourself as someone who studies daily, you don't wait for inspiration. When you see yourself as someone who finishes what they start, quitting stops being an option. Identity removes decision fatigue. It turns discipline into default behavior. Results come after identity changes because life tests alignment. It doesn't reward words, it rewards embodiment. You can say you want success, but if your identity is built around comfort, procrastination, and distraction, life will respond accordingly. Not to punish you, but to reflect you. Your results are a mirror. They don't lie. They show you exactly who you are being, not who you say you want to be. That's why frustration is a gift. Frustration is the signal that your expectations and your identity are misaligned. It's not there to break you. It's there to wake you up, to show you that something inside must change before something outside can change. Ignore that signal and frustration turns into bitterness. Listen to it and frustration turns into growth. You want better results, but you still identify with your old limitation. You still talk like the old you, think like the old you, react like the old you. You still say things like, I'm not disciplined, I'm not consistent, or that's just how I am. And every time you say that, you reinforce the identity that's holding you back. Words matter because they shape beliefs. Beliefs shape behavior. Behavior shapes results. Identity change requires letting go of comfort. You cannot become disciplined while protecting laziness. You cannot become confident while avoiding discomfort. You cannot become focused while feeding distraction. Something has to die for something else to be born. And that death is uncomfortable. It feels like loss. But what you're really losing is an old version of yourself that can't go where you're trying to go. Results also come after identity changes because identity determines how you respond to failure. When failure happens, and it will, a weak identity says, this proves I'm not good enough. A strong identity says, this is feedback. I'll adjust and continue. Same failure, different identity, different outcome. The difference between people who succeed and people who quit is not talent. It's identity. You don't rise when life gets easier. You rise when you get stronger. And strength is internal before it is external. You don't build resilience by avoiding struggle. You build it by facing struggle with discipline. Every time you endure discomfort, instead of escaping it, your identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as fragile and start seeing yourself as capable. Identity change also affects what you tolerate. When your identity shifts, your standards rise. You stop accepting excuses from yourself. You stop tolerating environments that weaken you. You stop settling for relationships that drain you. Not because you're better than others, but because you're committed to becoming better than your past self. Most people wait for results to give them permission to change how they see themselves. But the order is reversed. You must see yourself differently before life treats you differently. You must act like the person you want to become before the world recognizes you as that person. That doesn't mean pretending. It means practicing daily, consistently, honestly. Identity is shaped by repetition, not intensity. One extreme effort doesn't change who you are, but repeated discipline does. That's why small habits are powerful. They don't look impressive, but they slowly rewire how you see yourself. And once your self-image changes, massive action becomes natural instead of forced. You don't get new results by chasing outcomes. You get new results by building systems that reinforce a new identity. Systems create habits. Habits reinforce identity. Identity produces results. That's the order. Skip it and you'll keep starting over. Follow it and progress becomes inevitable. When your identity changes, consistency stops being a struggle. Discipline stops feeling like punishment. Growth stops feeling forced. You start doing the right things because that's who you are, not because you're chasing a reward. And that's when results become sustainable. So stop asking when things will change and start asking who you need to become. Stop waiting for results to motivate you and start building the identity that makes results unavoidable. Because results don't come first. Identity does. And once your identity changes, your life has no choice but to follow. You keep waiting for a big moment, a breakthrough, a miracle. One massive win that will change everything overnight. And while you're waiting for that one moment, life is passing you by in small moments you keep ignoring. That's the mistake. That's the misunderstanding. Because unstoppable momentum is not built through massive wins. It is built through small wins stacked daily, consistently, relentlessly, especially when nobody is watching. Small wins look insignificant. They don't impress people. They don't get applause. They don't go powerful in the moment. And that's exactly why most people overlook them. You underestimate what looks small because your ego wants something dramatic. You want a story that sounds impressive. You want progress that feels exciting. But real growth doesn't announce itself. It whispers. It accumulates quietly until one day it becomes impossible to ignore. Momentum doesn't start loud, it starts fragile. It starts with showing up when you don't feel like it. It starts with one decision to do the right thing instead of the easy thing. One workout, one focused hour, one disciplined choice, one page read, one hard conversation, one excuse rejected, one promise kept. That's how momentum begins. And if you don't respect that stage, you never reach the unstoppable stage. Most people fail not because they can't do big things, but because they refuse to do small things consistently. They want to skip steps. They want to jump ahead. They want results without rhythm. But life doesn't work in leaps. It works in layers. Each small win lays a brick. Skipping up bricks and the structure collapses, stacked impatiently. And one day you're standing on something solid. Small wins build confidence the right way. Not fake confidence, not loud confidence, real confidence. The kind that comes from evidence. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when it's small, your brain records proof. Proof that you are reliable. Proof that you can be trusted. Proof that you can follow through. And confidence grows from self-trust, not motivation. Motivation is emotional. Momentum is mechanical. You don't wake up confident. You earn confidence through small acts of discipline, and the more small wins you collect, the stronger your self-image becomes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries. You start seeing yourself as someone who does. That shift is powerful. Because once your identity changes, consistency stops being a fight. Small wins also lower resistance. Big goals scare because they feel heavy, they feel overwhelming. They trigger fear, doubt, and procrastination. But small wins feel manageable, they feel doable. They don't threaten your ego. And because they feel safe, you actually do them. And doing something is always better than thinking about everything. Momentum feeds on action, not intention. You don't need to feel ready. You need to start small enough that resistance can't stop you. That's how you trick your own mind into progress. You don't conquer the mountain in one step. You conquer it one step at a time, without stopping, without overthinking, without dramatizing the climb. Small wins compound. That's what most people don't understand. They see one small action and think it doesn't matter. But small actions repeated daily create exponential growth. 1% better every day doesn't feel like much, but over time it separates winners from quitters. The difference between someone who succeeds and someone who stays stuck is not talent. It's consistency with small action. Momentum is built when progress becomes automatic, when effort turns into rhythm, when discipline turns into habit, when showing up becomes normal. That doesn't happen with big, intense bursts of effort followed by long breaks. That happens with small, steady steps taken without negotiation. Intensity impresses. Consistency transforms. Small wins also protect you from burnout. Big pushes drain you. They rely on emotion. And when emotion fades, so does effort. Small wins rely on structure. They don't ask for hero energy. They ask for commitment. And because they're sustainable, they keep you moving forward, even on bad days. Especially on bad days. People who win long-term don't rely on how they feel. They rely on what they've committed to. And that commitment is usually built around small, non-negotiable actions. Actions that happen whether the day is good or bad, whether motivation is high or low. That's momentum, not speed. Direction with consistency. Small wins also build resilience. When you start stacking wins, even small ones, setbacks don't destroy you because your identity is no longer tied to one outcome. You know you can recover because you've proven to yourself that you can show up again tomorrow. One failure doesn't erase 10 small wins, but when you rely on one big win, one failure feels like the end. This is why small wins are powerful psychologically. They create a feedback loop. Action creates progress. Progress creates belief. Belief creates more action, and the loop feeds itself. That's unstoppable momentum. Not because things become easy, but because quitting becomes harder than continuing. You keep waiting to feel confident before you act, but confidence comes after action, not before. Small wins create that action. They lower the barrier to entry, they remove excuses. They give you no reason not to start. And starting's everything. Because once you start, momentum takes over. Small wins also sharpen your skills. You don't master anything in one big attempt. You master things through repetition, through refinement, through feedback, through small adjustments. Every small win is a rep. Every rep makes you better, stronger, smarter, more efficient. Over time, what once felt hard becomes normal. What once felt impossible becomes routine. You don't suddenly become disciplined. You practice discipline in small doses until it becomes part of who you are. You don't suddenly become focused. You train focus in short sessions until distraction loses its power. You don't suddenly become confident. You earn confidence through small acts of courage, repeated over time. Small wins also keep you grounded. Big wins can inflate ego. They can make you careless. They can make you forget the basics. Small wins keep you humble. They remind you that progress is built, not given. They force you to respect the process, and respect for the process is what keeps success sustainable. Most people sabotage themselves because they dismiss the small stuff. They skip the basics, they chase hacks, they look for shortcuts, but shortcuts skip character. Shortcuts skip discipline, shortcuts skip identity change. And anything built without those things collapses under pressure. Small wins build patience. They train you to value progress over speed. They teach you to trust accumulation instead of instant gratification. And patience is not passive. It's active commitment without immediate reward. That skill alone separates people who last from people who burn out. Momentum also changes how you see time. When you're stuck, time feels heavy. Days drag, weeks blur. But when momentum starts, time feels productive. You don't need dramatic change. You need direction and movement. Small wins give you that movement. You might not feel proud of a small win, but pride isn't the goal. Progress is. And pride will come later when you look back and realize how far those small steps took you. No one celebrates the first brick, but everyone admires the building. Small wins also build discipline without drama. You don't need to suffer loudly. You don't need to punish yourself. You don't need extreme routines. You need consistency. Discipline is not about pain, it's about priority. And small wins help you practice choosing priority over comfort again and again. You might feel like small wins don't change your life, but neither does quitting. Neither does waiting. Neither does overthinking. Small wins are the only strategy that works in the long run because they work when motivation doesn't. They work when life is busy. They work when things aren't perfect. Momentum doesn't ask for permission. Once it starts, it pulls you forward. Tasks that once felt heavy start to feel lighter. Resistance decreases. Flow increases. And suddenly you're doing more without feeling overwhelmed. Not because you force yourself, but because you build capacity slowly. Small wins also protect your mental health. Big goals can create pressure, anxiety, and self-doubt. Small wins create stability. They keep you present. They keep you focused on what you can control today. And control creates calm. Calm creates clarity, creates better decisions. You don't need to know how everything will work out. You need to know what your next small step is. That's it. That's all momentum requires. One step done well. Then another. Over time, those steps turn into miles. Most people quit because they expect progress to feel exciting, but progress often feels repetitive, uneventful, quiet. And that's okay. That's normal. That's where strength is built. If you can stay committed during the boring phase, the breakthrough phase becomes inevitable. Small wins also build trust with yourself. And self-trust is more valuable than talent. When you trust yourself, you stop second guessing. You stop hesitating. You stop overthinking. You act. And action creates results. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. You don't need to do everything. You need to do something every day. You don't need to move fast. You need to move forward. Small wins turn effort into identity. At first, you're forcing yourself. Then you're training yourself. Eventually, you're just being yourself. And that's when momentum becomes unstoppable. Because now you're not chasing progress. You are progress. People will eventually see your results and think it happened suddenly, overnight, out of nowhere. But you'll know the truth. You'll know it was built in silence, in small decisions, in boring days, in moments when quitting would have been easier. Unstoppable momentum is not magic. It's math. Small effort multiplied by time. Small discipline multiplied by consistency. Small wins multiplied by belief. And the equation always works if you don't interrupt it by quitting. So stop waiting for the big win. Stop underestimating the small one. Respect the small step. Protect it. Repeat it. Build on it. Because the life you want is not built in one moment. It's built in thousands of small wins stacked so tightly together that quitting no longer makes sense. That's how momentum is created. Quietly, relentlessly, unstoppably. Instant results feel good. They excite you. They make you feel powerful, validated, chosen. But what most people don't understand is that instant results don't strengthen you. They weaken you. They give you rewards before you develop the discipline to handle them. They give you outcomes before you build the character to sustain them. And that's why so many people rise fast and fall even faster. When everything comes easy, you don't learn how to endure. When success comes quickly, you don't learn how to struggle. And when you don't learn how to struggle, the first moment life applies pressure, you break. Not because you're incapable, but because you were never trained. Delay is training. Struggle is conditioning. Resistance is preparation. And leaders are not born from comfort. They are forged in delay. Instant results create an illusion. They make you believe you're ready when you're not. They inflate your confidence without grounding it in experience. They give you authority without wisdom. And authority without wisdom is dangerous. That's how people lose everything. That's how people self-destruct. That's how potential gets wasted. Delay, on the other hand, does something uncomfortable but necessary. It humbles you. It slows you down so you can see yourself clearly. It exposes your weaknesses before the stakes are too high. It forces you to grow roots instead of just branches. And roots are invisible, but they are what keep you standing when storms come. Weak people not created by lack of opportunity. They are created by lack of resistance. When life removes resistance too early, you never build strength. You never learn patience. You never learn discipline. You never learn how to keep going when things don't feel good. And leadership requires all of that. Leadership is not about position. It's about pressure. It's about pressure. It's about how you respond when things don't go your way. It's about how you handle responsibility when nobody is telling you what to do. It's about how you lead yourself before you try to lead others. And none of that is learned through instant success. Delay forces you to develop self-leadership. It forces you to show up without applause, to work without guarantees, to believe without evidence, to stay disciplined when motivation disappears. That's leadership training. That's preparation. That's the price. People who get instant results often confuse talent with readiness. They think because something worked once, they mastered it. They think because they got attention, they deserve influence. But talent without discipline collapses. Attention without character corrupts. And success without struggle weakens the very person it's supposed to elevate. Delay teaches you patience. And patience is not passive, it's controlled strength. It's the ability to stay committed without immediate reward. It's the ability to resist shortcuts. It's the ability to trust the process even when it's uncomfortable. Leaders need patience because leadership is long-term. It's not about winning today. It's about sustaining tomorrow. Delay also teaches you humility. It reminds you that you don't know everything, that you still have room to grow, that you need to listen, learn, and adapt. Instant results feed ego. Delay feeds wisdom. And ego-driven people make emotional decisions. Wise people make intentional ones. When success is delayed, you are forced to confront yourself, your excuses, your habits, your mindset, your fears. You can't hide behind results because there are none, yet all you have is who you are. And that confrontation is uncomfortable, but it's necessary because leaders must know themselves before they can lead others. Weak people avoid delay. They interpret it as failure, they complain, they quit, they look for shortcuts, they blame circumstances. Leaders use delay, they study, they train. They refine, they prepare. They understand that delay is not denial, it's development. Instant results skip development. They skip character building, they skip discipline building, they skip resilience building. And when those things are skipped, life collects the debt later with interest. The collapse always comes, maybe not immediately, but eventually, delay builds resilience. It teaches you how to get back up after disappointment, how to adjust when plans fail, how to keep going when progress is slow. And resilience is non-negotiable for leadership because leaders face resistance constantly. If you break under pressure, you can't lead. Delay also sharpens your values. When success is far away, you're forced to ask yourself why you're doing this. When nobody is watching, when nobody is praising you, when nobody's rewarding you, do you still show up? That answer reveals your character. Weak people need external validation. Leaders are driven internally. Instant results create dependency on motivation. Delay builds discipline. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. Leaders operate on discipline, not feelings. Not feelings built through repetition over time, not instant win. Delay teaches you consistency, showing up again and again without reward, doing the work even when it feels pointless, staying committed even when doubt is loud. That consistency becomes identity, and identity drives behavior automatically. Leaders don't force themselves to do the right thing. They become the kind of people who do it naturally. Instant results often create entitlement. You start believing you deserve success without sacrifice. You start resenting effort. You start avoiding discomfort. And entitlement is poison. It kills growth. It kills accountability. It kills leadership. Leaders understand that nothing is owed to them. Everything is earned. Delay also teaches gratitude. When things take time, you appreciate progress. You value small wins. You respect opportunity. Instant results make you careless. Delay makes you grateful. And gratitude keeps leaders grounded. Leadership requires emotional control. Delay trains that. It puts you in situations where frustration, impatience, doubt, and fear show up. And you must learn to manage those emotions without acting impulsively. Weak people react. Leaders respond, and response is learned through pressure over time. Delay teaches you to think long-term. Weak people chase immediate pleasure. Leaders sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term impact. Delay forces you to plan, to prepare, to prioritize. It removes the illusion that success is quick and easy, and that realism makes leaders strategic. Instant results can make you visible before you're ready. Delay gives you privacy to make mistakes, to learn, to grow without public pressure. That protection is a gift. Many people collapse because they were exposed too early. Delay shields you until you're strong enough. Delay also builds trust with yourself. Every day you show up despite delay. You prove something to yourself. You prove that you can endure, that you can be consistent, that you can keep promises. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Leaders trust themselves because they've tested themselves. Weak people avoid testing. They want assurance. Leaders accept uncertainty. Delay forces you to operate without certainty, without guarantees, and that builds courage. Courage is not absence of fear. It's action despite fear. Delay trains that muscle. Instant results often remove the need to problem solve. Things just work. Delay forces creativity, adaptation, learning, growth. Leaders are problem solvers. And problem solving skills develop through friction, not ease. Delay teaches you to respect process. Weak people want outcomes. Leaders value systems. Process creates repeatable success. Instant results are often random. Process-based results are sustainable. Leaders build systems, not moments. Delay also teaches you empathy. When you struggle, you understand struggle. When you wait, you understand patience. When you fail, you understand failure. And that understanding makes you a better leader. Leaders who've never struggled often lack compassion. Leaders who've endured delay lead with wisdom and empathy. Weak people need quick wins to feel worthy. Leaders build worth internally. Delay strips away external validation and forces you to build inner strength. That inner strength becomes stability. And stability is critical when others depend on you. Delay teaches you how to handle boredom, repetition, routine, consistency. Leadership is not exciting every day. It's responsibility every day. Weak people chase excitement. Leaders embrace responsibility. Delay trains you for that reality. Instant results often lead to fear of loss. Because you didn't earn it, you don't trust it. You're constantly worried it will disappear. Delay builds security. You know what it took. You know you can do it again. That confidence is unshakable. Delay teaches you to listen, to observe, to learn from others. When you're not at the top yet, you have room to grow. Instant results often make people stop listening too early. Leaders remain teachable. Leadership also requires integrity. Delay tests integrity. Will you cut corners to speed things up? Will you compromise values for progress? Weak people do. Leaders don't. And every time you choose integrity over speed, your leadership capacity increases. Delay teaches you restraint, not reacting emotionally, not rushing decisions, not chasing validation. Restraint is strength. Leaders are calm under pressure because they've been trained through waiting. Instant results often create arrogance. Delay creates humility, and humility keeps leaders grounded, open, adaptable. Arrogance isolates. Humility connects. Delay also strengthens your vision. When results are far away, you must see beyond the present. You must believe in something you cannot yet touch. That vision keeps you going. Leaders are vision-driven, not result-driven. Weak people need to see progress to believe. Leaders believe first and let progress catch up. Delay forces belief to mature, to deepen, to become resilient. Leadership requires sacrifice. Delay introduces sacrifice early. Time, comfort, convenience. Weak people avoid sacrifice. Leaders accept it as part of the journey. Delay also teaches accountability. When results aren't there, you can't blame success. You must take responsibility for improvement. Leaders own outcomes, good or bad. Instant results skip accountability. Delay demands it. Delay also strengthens discipline muscles, showing up when it doesn't pay yet. That discipline becomes automatic over time. Leaders don't rely on willpower. They've trained habits. Weak people rely on excitement. Leaders rely on structure. Delay teaches you to respect timing. Just because you want something doesn't mean you're ready for it. Leaders understand timing. Weak people rush. Delay prepares you to handle power. Power without preparation corrupts. Delay prepares you internally before you are given influence externally. Weak people want to arrive. Leaders want to be ready. Delay teaches you endurance. Endurance wins long games. Leadership is a long game. Instant results create sprinters. Delay creates marathon runners. Delay also teaches you gratitude for progress, not perfection. Leaders celebrate growth, not just outcomes. Weak people complain about how long it takes. Leaders focus on how strong they are becoming. Delay teaches perspective. What once felt urgent loses power. What truly matters becomes clear. Instant results distort perspective. Everything feels dramatic. Delay calms you. Leadership requires calm. Delay also builds credibility. When people see you've endured struggles, stayed consistent, they trust you. Instant success raises questions. Earned success builds respect. Delay creates leaders because it filters people. Only those willing to endure them remain. And leadership requires endurance. Weak people leave when it gets hard. Leaders stay. Delay trains you to operate without praise. Leaders don't need applause. They need purpose. Instant results often make people addicted to praise. Delay breaks that addiction. Delay teaches you self-mastery. Managing impulses, managing emotions, managing time. Leaders must master themselves before leading others. Weak people want control over outcomes. Leaders focus on control over action. Delay strengthens focus. Distractions lose appeal when you're committed long-term. Instant results encourage distraction. Delay encourages depth. Delay teaches you patience with people. Leaders work with imperfect people. Patience is essential. Weak people get frustrated quickly. Leaders remain steady. Delay also teaches you to appreciate fundamentals. Basics win long term. Leaders never abandon basics. Instant results often make people chase novelty. Delay reinforces fundamentals. Delay builds mental toughness. Staying committed despite doubt. Leaders need that toughness. Weak people quit mentally before they quit physically. Leaders stay mentally strong. Delay creates leaders because leadership is not about speed. It's about strength. Not about arriving first, about lasting longest. Instant results give you something. Delay gives you someone stronger. And when the results finally come after delay, they don't weaken you. They reveal you real you. They don't inflate you. They confirm you. They don't destroy you. They empower you because now you're ready. Instant results create weak people because they skip the work that builds leaders. Delay creates leaders because it forces the work to happen inside before it shows on the outside. So if you are frustrated by delay, understand this: you are not being held back. You are being built. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. You are not being ignored. You are being trained. And when leadership is finally required of you, you won't crumble. You won't panic. You won't quit because delay already did the hard work. That's why delay creates leaders. Now, as we come to the conclusion, I want you to understand something deeply. Life does not work on your timeline. Life does not care about your excuses, your frustration, your impatience, or your desire for instant results. Life moves at its own pace, and it tests you constantly, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Every delay, every setback, every moment where you feel like quitting, every moment where it seems like nothing is happening, is life giving you the opportunity to develop strength, resilience, patience, and character. You see, results are not the measure of your work. Effort is, persistence is, commitment is. What matters is not that you arrive instantly, but that you keep showing up day after day, even when the world is silent, even when no one is watching, even when the fire inside you feels like it is flickering out. That is what defines you. That is what separates the ones who achieve greatness from the ones who watch life happen to them. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. Every champion you admire, every leader you respect, every person who has made a lasting impact did not get there by chasing instant gratification. They did not wake up one morning and find that everything was handed to them. No, they got there because they were willing to endure what others were not. They were willing to stay when others left. They were willing to work when others quit. They were willing to invest in themselves, to fight for their vision, to stay disciplined when it would have been easier to give up. And that is exactly what I want for you. I want you to be someone who endures. I want you to be someone who outlasts every distraction, every temptation, every obstacle, because you know that the reward is not instant, but the value is eternal. You see, too many people today have been trained to expect everything immediately. We live in a culture of speed. We want instant answers. We want instant recognition. We want instant wealth. We want instant success. And that mindset is a trap. It is a lie. It makes people weak. It robs them of the preparation they need to handle the challenges, responsibilities, and opportunity that life will inevitably throw at them. Instant results may feel good for a moment, but they do not build depth. They do not build resilience. They do not build the kind of character that can withstand storms. And life is full of storms. Life will test you. Life will push you. Life will try to break you. And when that moment comes, if you have relied on instant results, if you have skipped the process, if you have refused the struggle, you will crumble. You will falter. You will quit. But if you embrace the delay, if you honor the struggle, if you trust the process, you will stand. You will rise. You will overcome. You will be a leader, not a follower. You will be a warrior, not a spectator. And here's the beauty of it. The process, the struggle, the patience, the delay is actually yours. It is the training ground where you develop the skills, mindset, and habits that results alone could never give you. It is where you learn self-discipline, endurance, resilience, consistency, and character. It is where you discover who you truly are. It is where you learn that your identity is bigger than your circumstance, bigger than your frustrations, bigger than your failures. And when you finally arrive, when the results finally show up, they are powerful not just because of what they are, but because of what you have become in the process. The victory does not make you. The struggle makes you. The journey makes you. The work you put in day after day, long before the applause, long before the recognition, long before the success appeared, is what transforms you into someone unshakable, unstoppable, undeniable. I want you to understand that nothing worth having is instantaneous. Nothing that truly matters is easy. If it were, everyone would have it, and it would not hold any value. The fact that it takes time, that it requires effort, that it demands sacrifice is exactly what makes it worth it. Greatness is not an accident. Success is not a gift. Transformation is not something that falls from the sky. It is earned painstakingly, consistently, relentlessly, through actions repeated when nobody is watching, through choices made when you could have taken the easy path, through disciplined practice when motivation is gone. It is built through the accumulation of small wins stacked on top of each other until they create unstoppable momentum. And that is exactly what I want you to grasp. You want results? Then embrace the process. You want to be successful? Then be willing to endure what others will not. You want to be respected? Then show up consistently, even when the world does not notice. You want to lead? Then learn patience, resilience, humility, and self-mastery. You want to leave a legacy? Then invest in yourself now, not in shortcuts, not in instant gratification, but in the slow, steady work that builds something real and lasting. Because what you do every day matters. The choices you make every day define the person you are becoming. And the person you are becoming is the only thing that will sustain you when the results finally arrive. Let me break it down even further for you. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not luck. It's not talent. It is not circumstance. It's commitment to the process. It's the ability to keep going when it's hard. It is the ability to keep going when nobody is clapping. It is the ability to keep going when doubt and fear are screaming in your ear. It is the ability to prioritize long-term value over short-term comfort. Every day you choose the path of discipline, you are building momentum. Every day you choose the path of patience, you are building resilience. Every day you choose the path of effort, you are building character. And the accumulation of these choices becomes unstoppable. I need you to see this clearly. There is no such thing as instant transformation. You will not wake up one day and suddenly have everything you want. You will not discover the perfect mindset, the perfect skill, or the perfect opportunity all at once. Transformation is a process. Growth is a process. Growth is a process. Success is a process. And every step in that process is crucial. Every hour spent, every challenge faced, every uncomfortable moment endured is a building block in the foundation of your future. You must respect the process if you want results that last. You must honor the grind if you want victories that matter. You must embrace the struggle if you want to become more than you are today. I also want you to understand the role of identity in all of this. Results follow identity, not the other way around. You can chase results all you want, but if your habits, your mindset, and your character are not aligned with the person you need to become, the results will be temporary. They will vanish. They will be hollow. The real work is who you become during the wait, during the delay, during the struggle. The person who shows up consistently, who works relentlessly, who endures, who grows, who learns, who keeps fighting. That is the person who earns results that last. That is the person who becomes unstoppable. And here's the hard truth. Most people are not willing to pay this price. Most people want everything fast. Most people quit when the results are delayed. Most people give up before their momentum builds. And that is why most people fail. That is why most people never achieve their full potential. But you are not most people. You are listening. You are reading. You are willing to engage. You are willing to fight for your future. And because of that, you have the potential to rise above the rest. You have the potential to endure, to grow, to build momentum that cannot be stopped. I need you to realize that delay is not denial. Delay is development. Delay is preparation. Delay is training for something bigger than what you can see right now. It is life's way of teaching you endurance, patience, discipline, resilience, and character. It is life's way of shaping you into someone capable of handling the responsibilities, challenges, and opportunities that are coming. And when you finally see the results, when you finally achieve the success you've been working toward, it will not just be a victory in the external world, it will be a confirmation of your internal growth. The person you have become in the process will be unstoppable. So here is the call to action. Stop chasing instant results. Stop wishing for shortcuts. Stop expecting success without effort, recognition without mastery, reward without struggle. Start showing up consistently. Start putting in the work every single day. Start embracing small wins. Start building habits that reflect the person you want to become. Start enduring delays as training, as preparation, as a test of your character. And above all, start believing in yourself, even when the results are not yet visible. The journey will not be easy. There will be moments of doubt. There will be moments of doubt. There will be moments of frustration. There will be days when nothing seems to be working. That is normal. That is life. That is growth. And it's exactly in those moments that your true strength is revealed. When you continue despite the struggle, when you keep showing up despite the delay, when you work consistently when nobody is watching, that is when momentum begins to build. That is when your identity transforms. That's when you become someone capable of achieving greatness. And when you finally achieve your goals, when the results arrive, they will be powerful because they will be earned. They will be sustainable because they are built on character. They will be undeniable because they are backed by discipline, resilience, and preparation. And no one will be able to take that away from you. Not circumstances, not setbacks, not failures, because you have built something that cannot be shaken. Momentum, strength, and an identity that refuses to quit. So I want you to leave today with this understanding. Greatness is not instant. Greatness is not in. Success is not immediate. Transformation is not magical. It is the result of consistent daily effort, small wins stacked over time, patience in the face of delay, and discipline when motivation fades. It is the result of becoming the person capable of handling the success you are working toward. Delay is not the enemy. It is your teacher. Struggle is not the obstacle. It is your preparation. The grind is not a punishment. It is your path to power. And finally, remember this. The difference between weak people and leaders is not opportunity. It is not luck. It is not speed. It is who endures. It is who perseveres. It is who shows up consistently, builds small wins, honors the process, develops their identity, and trusts the journey. Leaders are forged in delay, strengthened in struggle, and confirmed in consistency. Weak people chase instant results and crumble when the pressure comes. Leaders embrace delay, endure struggle, and emerge unshakable, unstoppable, undeniable. So go, take the first step. Show up today. Commit to the process. Honor the small wins. Build momentum. Trust yourself. Believe in your growth. And understand that every day you invest in yourself is a day closer to becoming the person capable of achieving the life you dream of. Delay is your friend. The struggle is your teacher. The work is your weapon. And when the results finally arrive, they will not just change your circumstance. They will reveal the greatness that has been building inside of you all along. Don't run from delay. Don't avoid the struggle. Don't chase instant gratification. Embrace the process. Commit to the journey. Trust the small wins, build momentum, and watch yourself transform into someone who can handle, sustain, and magnify the success that is coming. This is your moment. This is your time. Not because it is instant, not because it is easy, not because it is guaranteed, but because you are ready to work, ready to endure, ready to rise, and ready to claim the results you have earned. And when it all comes together, when your momentum becomes unstoppable, when your small wins stack into victories, when your delay becomes your preparation, you will finally understand the truth that I am trying to teach you today. Results are not what make you. The process makes you. The struggle makes you. The discipline makes you. The patience makes you. And when you finally stand in your success, you will not only have achieved your goals, you will have become someone worthy of them.